Hi, so today I'm doing some threading on the lathe, and the problem I've got is normally I'll take the nut, if I'm making a bolt, I'll cut the threads down the bolt or stud, whatever it'll be, and I'll try the nut on until it goes on, you know. But I've been wanting some more accurate way of making threads, and I've seen various people on YouTube using threading wires. I've got a bit of hair in my eye, great. Anyway, I've looked at the price of these things, and they're a ridiculous price, absolutely ridiculous. I'd have bought some if they were like, 20 quid or something like that, £20. But they're not. They're about £100 plus shipping from the United States, because we don't seem to use them in the UK for some reason. I think we're even more insane. We use thread gauges, which are about £20 or £30 each, and of course you need one for each thread. And doing internal threads, it just ain't going to work. So this is an internal thread which I did last night, and it turned out rubbish. The only reason it turned out rubbish is because of me boring mob, but measuring it is impossible. You need to make a plug gauge for that, and the only way to make a reliable plug gauge yourself, unless you buy them, is to use threading wires or a micrometer for measuring threads with, both of which are expensive. Now, the inexpensive way I've decided to do it with is using needles. So today I'm making threads on the lathe, substituting threading wires for needles. So the first thing I had to do, as you can see there's a lot of needles missing here, was to sort out 3 needles of the same diameter and multiple different diameters. So as you'll see, I've got 9 needles in 3 different diameters. Okay, my lathe is still inside the kitchen, and the other day my camera mount, which I've got here, it had a plastic GoPro holder on it, and had a pressed in brass sleeve into the plastic, which gave way and the camera fell out. It is the one that you're watching me on now. The camera did stop working, but amazingly it's come back to life again. And the right ho, I am my camera. Beep 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 beep. The autofocus works because it was just set in infinity. You had to hold it around about 500 foot away from the thing you wanted to video. So, not yesterday, the day before, I made this, and I did all the measurements and did it by eyeball using the incremented dials on the milling machine, and it ended up being that much too short, so I just whacked 2 screws into it, and now it's tight as a tiger. And today's video is about threading. Now yesterday I did some form work. I was forming a handle for the Bridgeport. That's for the reversing feed mechanism handle. And today I am making a handle for the spindle lock, because this is the handle that was in it. Yes, just a cap screw. It's 5/16 20, so it's national. It's just UN, Unified National, whatever that is. 60-degree thread, 5/16. And the other one I'm doing is the adapter locking screw, which when the Bridgeport fell over, somehow this got touched. I don't know how this got touched, but it did. Not a lot, but a little bit. Right. Threading. Now imagine this happens to be a 1032. Diameter will be 0.190 of an inch, which doesn't equate to 10, but there you go, it's called 10 for some reason. And the other one is called 5/16 20, which makes a bit more sense because it's 5/16 of an inch, or just slightly over, exactly half a thou over, although this one isn't, this one's 2 thou under. And it's 20 threads per inch. So they're the 2 threads that I'm doing today. Now I want to use wires because I haven't got any nuts or dies this size, and I can't pick up the Bridgeport milling machine and spin it onto the chuck. Like, I could take the chuck off and take it up and spin it in, but spinning this thing in with this chuck, I mean the chuck weighs 10 kilograms, 20 pounds, something like that, like, yeah. And I don't want to be carrying that around with that little thread in it and then trying to spin it in. Or 6 sets of 3 wires, or 10 sets of 3 wires. Anyway, for today, I've got my haberdashery kit out, and I found some matching needles. Don't know what size these needles are classed as. All I know is that they measure a certain diameter, width. These are 27.5 thou, these are 30.5 thou, and these are 39 thou. And what that gives me is, I get my old machinery's handbook out, the one that I keep by the lathe, which is already mucky, and I get the book on the page on measuring screw threads, and this is with wires. Now on the previous page in this particular book, this one says diameters of wires for measuring American Standard and British Standard Whitworth screw threads. I am doing 32 American Standard, so I can use a wire between 17.5 and 28 and a fraction. So my my letter A wires down there are 27.5, so they fit into that just below the maximum diameter. And I'm also doing a 20 TPI, and I can use anything between 28 thou and 45 thou, and obviously B and C will cover that. And then we've got to work out, after we've cut a thread, what diameter I should be measuring. Now here I used the formula, which was this formula here, and I got confused. So the formula says American National Standard. When standard major diameter D is used in formula, M equals blah 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 blah. When the pitch diameter E is used, that formula is used. So I'm not using the pitch diameter, I'm using the major diameter. And I'm trying to hit the numbers. And I'm using a class B thread. No, class 3 3A thread, 3A I'm going for, which is the tightest thread you can go for. Anything less than that, I'll have to redo my figures. So the formula goes D minus, in parenthesis, 1.5155 times P. Now, P I took as pitch diameter, although up here it says E. So I did some calculations down here. I got 15 thou. Well, clearly that was wrong. And then I got 150,000, and that was clearly wrong. And then I got 55 inches, 358 thou, and that was clearly wrong, as I haven't got a micrometer that size. It surely was be way too big. And then I got a reading which I thought was right, and the thing that I was getting wrong here was I was plugging in the pitch diameter for P, and it isn't the pitch diameter you're looking for P. P should be the pitch itself. So for the 32 TPI thread, the pitch is 31, nearly 31.5 thou. And for the 5/16 20, that would be 20 TPI, so that would be 50 thou. So that's where I was going wrong. So on this last figure here, I've got 196.8 thousandths, and I thought that was right, but for the W in this here, I was using, for a start, I thought the width of the wire. Then I read some crap up here, got confused without reading the rest of the paragraph, and started doing some other weird crap, which I can't remember what I was doing, but I made a complete mess of that. Then I read all this, and it works out that this is just all telling you what the correct size wire should be, and then working out the correct size wire for W, and then working it out from that. Whereas I know what my wire size is because that's what I've got, so that's what I'm using. So forget all that and just plug my wire number in for W, which was 27.5 thou. And then I got this reading up here of 225 thousandths and 1/10. So that's what I'm going for the 32 TPI with a 27.5 thou set of wire gauges. And then for the 5/16 20, for the 20 TPI threads, I shall be going with, I worked that out wrong as well, after a rechecking, because you obviously have to double check everything, so I crossed that one out, and we've got this one here. So I've got those settings there, so that's what I'm going for, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing when you see me doing the threads. So I've decided to do the threading first before bringing down the diameter. I've put a radius which is about, starts about 1 millimetre into the chuck. There's a half radius there, so it's not held very well at all. Hence I've got the tailstock in, because any kind of pressure on this will knock it out of kilter. When I was trimming it up, because this was a bent piece of steering shaft, so it's good stress proof material. I should imagine it's probably, I don't know what it is, it's hard and crumbly. So yeah, it's very, very hard. It's high tensile stuff. Anyhow, when I was trimming it up, I just wanted to get down to diameter, that skim of paint that isn't taken off there. Pay no attention to that, that was in a previous setup. What we're looking at is the blue marked out area on the threaded area here. I've relieved it down to 242, I think it is, from 312. I've now got to take 20 23 thou off of it, so I better write that down before I forget, otherwise that's 23 thou per side, so I'll write that down there. And then we'll put the wire gauges on it. That should be 23 thou should be the maximum allowance depth of cut, the biggest diameter. Obviously we don't want to go down to the minimum diameter straight away, otherwise the threads will be slack. Okay, well I went past my 27 thou to 38 thou because 27 thou didn't look right, and then I've just done loads and loads of skim passes until it's still cutting at 38 thou, so there must have been a lot of tool pressure on that, and now I've overcut it. I can tell straight away that will fit straight in because I've overcut it. Well, let's try the wire gauges anyway, just for a laugh. So 3537. So this should be 3537, so I want to get me, so that's 350, 353, 355 and a bit extra. Right, so that's all tickety-boo. I can take this out to there, that's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes. Unless I take that to there. I'm just going to do it there. So what we need is two underneath next to each other and one on top, like thus. Micrometer in, two underneath, one on top, micrometer in, 3. Oh, good grief. So we got basically 325, and I wanted 353. So that's going to be piss slack, properly piss slack. So I went 1/8 thou over on my depth of cut, I think it was. Yeah, 1/8 thou over my depth of cut, and that's resulted in 25 thou gauge discrepancy. Now let's see what these screws read. These are me B sized gauges. Come on. Bring it down as an anvil for a start, hold it in position, and then we'll sort of push them all out. That bit of slackness off, eh? Obviously, being pins, they are quite sharp. And that is 317. I think that's close. I think that's a better reading. 317. That was supposed to be 3. That would say that they are not deep enough. So we'll try it with the big gauges again. I think the big gauges span as I took them off, because they just span as I was trying to take them off and I wasn't really paying attention beforehand. I think they span as they came off, and we'll get into a meaty part of the thread right there. Try and hold them there like that. That's a better feeling. That's a better feeling. And that is 3-1. No, 3-2. 3-3-2. 3-3-2. So that's not so bad. 3-3-2. That makes sense. 3-3-2. So that's 20 thou under, and I took 10 thou per side off, more than what I wanted, so that was 20 thou under. So that'll go straight in. It'll be a bit slack, but that'll still be within a tolerance. It's just not the tolerance I wanted. But they will go in. So I know full well they will go in now. I don't even have to guess. I can see they will, because the threads are really sharp, but I'll leave them like that. So they're really dangerous. Oh yeah, like razors. But after that last cut, the front edge got quite smooth, to be fair. Should have stuck at 27 and done the full passes. At 27 it didn't look very deep, but apparently there was a lot of flex in that little setup. Of course there would be, because everything's at its limits. So that's thread gauges anyway. if I'd have done it right, I'd have left stopped at 27. It would have been slightly under. I took a couple of thou off, but well, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. Right now, I'm going to break down this setup. We'll get that out, and I'm going to cut the taper. Beautiful. Like I said, there's just a bit of a dome in there. I've just got to figure out some way of cleaning that up. So here we are back at the Bridgeport. Got the reversing feed lever that I've made. Fitted beautifully first time with a guess. This was nearly using wire gauges, and here it is, first time fit. Does it go in? Rocky like I said it was going to be. There she is. Certainly does not look out of place. In fact, I would say that looks mint. Quite happy with that. And I re-welded this. This was pretty pathetic, but in the rebuilding of this area here with weld, just to make it look slightly better, it is better, I had to rebore it because it was out of square after it. Look how much is missing off of it, and I've had to have that built up by twice its thickness. So that pulled it out of kilter, so I bored it, and now I need to bore it more and sleeve it, but not to worry. That's I've straightened the kinks everywhere, so I'll straighten that out as well, which, well, it's almost straight now. It looks pretty pretty much how it should look now. So I'm quite happy with that. Get in there. Only problem I'm having is, right into gear, listen to that, it locks. And it locks. So I'm going to have to take the top off again, and this time I'm going to have to take the gears out and take all those weird nuts and everything out to see what is happening, because either the shaft, well, when you put it on, this turns under power, but the quill doesn't come down. So the gear which attaches to this, yeah, which is for the power feed switch here, that lever comes off the back here, hold on, and goes in that hole just there. Well, that gear inside there is not turning. So the power feed shaft which goes down into that gear is not being engaged, and I think it's broken because I can hear it. It engages every now and again. There, it's gone stiff. Tries to engage but doesn't. So either it's seized up, it's either got some kind of leverage shaft and it's not going down, which is more than likely what's happened because it's stood for such a long time, or it's broken. But anyway, the spindle's nice, and now my lever's nice, and my lever's nice, and we're getting there. Right, so this is the second part I'm doing today. As you can see, it is a representation of the original Bridgeport thing, which was bent, just needs some threads putting onto it. This one I'm not using a live centre, I'm only taking 10 thou total cut, and then whatever extra we need after we've measured it with the gauges. And this time I am going to 10 thou, I'm not going to go anything more than that. Let me just knock the camera a little bit, get a 0 on this, an exact 0, that's half a thou. Well, we'll try that again, because I've got to get a 0 on the part as well. The lathe is in back gear, don't know why I want it in back gear. I'll have it in normal gear. It's turning backwards, hopefully. Yep, turning backwards, and let's give it a touch. That has touched, so I need a 0, an accurate 0. Right, I have a 0. I'm in reverse, I want to go into threads, into threading, and we'll do it. 32. Looks good to me. Set a 0 on my compound, not on my compound, on my cross slide, and away we go. We are ready. I'm sure every time I look at the Bridgeport I'll see that now because it's right next to your face, but not to worry. There might be something I can do to make it look a bit better. It will work perfectly good because the threads don't go in that far, but bit annoyed. Bit annoyed indeed. I don't know if you can see it now. Look, it's just that damaged thread right where the thumb is. Right there. It's 32 TPI, seems to, doesn't matter which one you engage it on, you can engage it anywhere you like. I just panic because I'm trying to go on the same one. I think it's a 8 TPI lead screw. So because 32 is a multiple of 8, you can go straight in on it. 16s and 8s I think, yeah, it's just got a sharp edge right there where I've cut the thread in half. Oh well. Not a worry. Not to worry. Right. At least we'll know it's the same. I've got evidence it's the same one. It's got that third thread down, the fourth thread down's cut in half. Boy, a mental man that gets overexcited and engages the lever one tooth too early. Right, so I've got parted off now, so parting off coming up. Everything else should be hunky-dory on that. Where you get the parting blade in. and it's all going to be in the way of the camera. The camera's going to get hit. I'm going to have to reposition you. Parting becomes a lot easier. So I've got a bit of a thing on the end of it. It's quite warm, although it just dropped in the oil, and it's got a tit on it. Not happy about the tit. Not to worry. Since I've been locking the compound up, you don't have to put the carriage lock on to get stability under parting. As long as you've got the right parting blade in for the job, and this is pretty tough steel. So I put carbide in. I didn't think the high speed steel would stand a chance against it. Let's get a close up shot of the stupidity, so you can see that thread that's cut. Oh well. Well, everyone could have faced that off a bit better, couldn't I? Could have actually faced it off after I'd finished doing the turning, but again, not to worry. Let's get rid of that end. Bit of a shame it's got that bit on the end of it, but I'll get rid of that and we'll go and try it. Here we are back at the Bridgeport, so a bit of light, more light on the subject. Try not to press anything, and there is the hole. Here is the part. It's going in. A slight bit of slop in it, and it threads all the way in and comes all the way out. Beautiful. So yes, I don't know how accurate those pins are, but let's get a bit closer. Oh, the lever's popped in your face. Go on, focusing on that. Yeah, goes in and out beautifully. Just how it should. Yeah. Cool. Another job bites the dust. Next, I am going to clean that lever. Right, so that was partially successful. What we found was the lever for the spindle lock. The threads were very slack, and I showed that in pretty much detail. I measured the depth of cut by using the measurements from the machinist's handbook. So I just took the measurements out of the handbook for a class 3 thread, did the calculation, that was the measurement. Now I divided that measurement in two and went about doing it. Unfortunately I had a lot of tool pressure, and when I got to my half depth, which should have been double depth, it would have been full, I wasn't happy with the look of the thread, and I carried on regardless, using the DTI gauge digital test indicator, not using the wires. On the second thread, now I know I didn't show that very well, I've just skipped through that because the video would have been 3 hours long, that's how long it took me to do this. So I've just done that in fast forward. You'll see it in the motions. I get the threading wires out, I measure it, then I do a few more cuts, and it works out really well. In fact, that second one, I think I was 2 thou shy using the DTI, and then I used the compound after I took the DTI off and just used the compound for the last set of threading actions, and took 2 thou off, measured it again, it's within tolerance, and as you can see, it's smooth. You can just spin it with one finger. So I'm very happy with that. Now the idea for using needles is because I've got them in stock and I use them on cars for pinning out. Now pinning out is where you can get manufacturers pin out boxes and they go in between the multi-plug connectors and allow you access to the wires for testing. But the other way of doing it is making up these kind of things, which are all individual wires and all colours. I've got way more colours than that, but I'm just giving you an example. And I've got a needle on the end that is soldered onto the wire. I've cut the dog clip off that side and then put some heat shrink around it, and I just jab them into the back of wiring terminals and do my testing. So I've got needles laying about, and I thought, after searching tool companies, we've got places like RDG and Kronos and other companies in the UK, looking on Alibaba, is it, and eBay and other places, and I can get them delivered from the United States. You're talking about £80 for a set of a little box of wires with instructions in, and then postage and packaging and customs and everything from America is absolutely ridiculous. What is it with the Americans? Why do they charge so much to deliver stuff? I mean, it's beyond me where they get the price for postage from. I just don't know where it comes from. Maybe they're living in the 18th century or something. I don't know. They send it across on barge with horse-powered circular things. I don't know what they do to get it across here, but it costs them a lot of money. So I'm not spending £160, £170 for the genuine stuff coming from America and trying to find it anywhere in the UK without actually really difficultly going into the places and saying, have you got these things? And then obviously now you're obliged to buy them whatever price they are. I'm just not doing it. And needles work great. I promise you, going down to your haberdashery and spending £6 on 400 needles of different sizes, sifting through them with a micrometer to match up what you need, you won't be disappointed. Well, I certainly haven't been so far, and I don't see as though I'm going to be disappointed, because as far as I can see, once you've got the maths worked out, you can do yourself a little cue card and just slip it in with whatever container you put your needles in. Now I'm planning on making a container for my needles, so I'll best get on with that now and stop shooting videos, isn't it? Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.